All right, welcome to another episode of Operation American Dream, where we honor those who fight in the country they fight to protect. Joining me, of course, as always, our co-host, Amy Scruggs.
Hello, great to see you today.
Hello, it has a very nice tan.
I know, I don't know what happened. I go out in the sun for 5 minutes and this happened.
Well, I haven't seen you in a while, so I've been out of town, you've been out of town, 4th of July passed, Independence Day. Did you have a nice 4th of July?
Absolutely wonderful. And how do you beat the fireworks and true celebration of our nation? It's pretty awesome.
In a military town.
Yeah,
it's the best place to do it. My favorite holiday. I had a good time. You obviously had a good time with that tan. So let's start the show. I know we got a great one lined up. We're honoring charities, those who are helping wounded vets. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
So
Excited about the lineup we have today. Some incredible guests. It's going to be fun.
All right, well, let's start it right now.
Let's
Here comes Operation American Dream.
We're back with Operation American Dream. We're having a good time in here today. I've got a great guest, Mr. John Segoria, who happens to be the Director of Disability Support on Cal State San Marcos, and he has brought a special guest here today, Erik Galvan, and we're going to share his story, but I want to get right to it. John, thank you. We had a chance to meet before at the campus, and it's outstanding that you're going to be here today and talk about what you do at the university, and also, Erik, to get a chance to talk with you and hear some of your story, but let's get right to it.
As the Director of Disability Support Services, I've been tasked with making sure that the campus provides reasonable accommodations to students with some sort of a documented disability. Mm-hmm. My niche is working with veterans with a wide assortment of disabilities. We have a lot of combat veterans that are attending Cal State San Marcos. I think currently we're serving between 650 and 700 students that were veterans that are on campus taking courses now. And I would say the vast majority of those are combat veterans. Of that particular subgroup, I probably have about 40 or 50 combat veterans that I'm working with, both males and females, with a wide assortment of disabilities from post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injuries, and that sort of thing. So we work really hard to determine how best to compensate for the impact of their disabilities within the academic environment. That may mean additional time for course exams, providing a safer environment to take an exam so they can focus better. It may mean providing them with access to a real-time captioner because they lost their hearing later in life because of a blast injury, for example.
Wow, yeah.
So it's a matter of really looking at them as individuals and determining how best to work with them in the academic arena. And Erik was one of my better students, and I wanted to bring him in to talk about his experiences transitioning as a combat veteran in the Marine Corps to the classroom. No one can speak better than an actual veteran. So.
Yeah, Erik, tell us a little bit here. You're triple amputee, Marine veteran.
Marine veteran.
Great attitude. You were cracking me up.
Yeah, I think attitude's half the battle, if not, 80%.
Yeah.
But you're right. I was injured a few years ago, resulted in being a triple amputee, and immediately following retirement out of the military, I decided to go back to school, and that's a new challenge in itself. Mainly because, kids. I guess to kids, young adults, I should say, we have different life experiences. Mm-hmm. Most of these kids, they went to college right out of high school. I went and served my country. And so that level of maturity, I had to grow up faster. Mm-hmm. Not taking anything away from these young adults, but my experience is just way different. So transitioning into a college setting and doing that, like I said, it's new hurdles. So trying to sign up for classes, trying to figure out where the stuff is on campus, things like that. It was a big challenge for me, mainly because I have memory issues. I stutter sometimes when I talk. I have other emotional issues that I have to get through. And John was a big help with helping me succeed in college. And like I said, I finished my undergraduate degree this past December, and I just got accepted to USC. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
It's outstanding.
And I'm going to pursue social work. So I want to work with vets when they transition out of the military and help them navigate hurdles as well.
You're going to keep giving back, aren't you?
That's what we do. So
that is fantastic. I'm blown away, so impressed. And you're going to get married next month?
I
You're
am.
about to be a newlywed?
I am.
That's
Yeah.
going to be a whole nother training, isn't it?
Yeah. We've been together for a little while,
You need the
so
manual
hopefully
for
I
that.
think I mastered that one. So we'll see.
Wow. And John, this is so critical. Do most campuses have this kind of program? Tell me a little bit more detail of what you do.
Within the California State University system, we've got a very clear mission from our Chancellor's office to make sure that we provide services to attract veterans to our campuses and to help them to earn their college degrees. So it's a big push, essentially, from the Chancellor's office to make sure that we're all providing what we need to provide in terms of support services to our veterans to make sure that they come and they earn their college degrees and move on and become gainful members of the real world in terms of employment options. I would say that every campus in the CSU, every campus in the UC system, the California Community College system has a disability support services office that's been tasked with the same mission as ours, and that's to provide reasonable accommodations. I think a veteran coming out of the military who has a disability rating can expect to access some level of support through a disability support services program, no matter where they go, anywhere in the United States, particularly so in California at a publicly funded institution.
That's incredible. John, you're making a difference in so many lives, and what a clear example right here.
Absolutely.
I mean, Erik, your attitude is fantastic.
Oh, thank
what
you.
you've been through, but how you've taken it, now achieved, succeeded, going on to USC, and now you want to turn around and give back. If this is only one of, I'm sure, hundreds of success stories that you have just on that campus, I can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing, and I hope that our viewers know that there is no excuse to not give back. There's ways that we can all help, especially our heroes who have come back. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for being here today on Operation American Dream. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
We have a winner! Johnny, you won! You won!
Grandma?
There are certain times in life when you need a neutral third party to call the shots.
I know, but I wasn't ready. You hear me?
Keep it fair. Choose Oakwood Escrow.
Hi, welcome back to Operation American Dream. I'm your co-host today, Amy Scruggs. Very special guest right now. I've got Clint Pearman, PhD, and he is a special with brain injury specialist and regional educational director. I would like to get it right over to you, Mr. Pearman. We've met several times, and I love what you have to share and what you're doing to make a difference in the lives of our heroes and anybody who needs to know about brain injury. But I'd like to get right to it. Tell me about your background a little bit as well first.
Perfect. I background spent about 31 and a half years in the Marine Corps, joined right after high school and did a whole bunch of fun things for the next 31 years, got out, and in my new life, I am now the Regional Education Coordinator for the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. In a nutshell, when you wonder what is the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center, we're the brain injury component of the Defense Centers of Excellence for Psychological Health and Traumatic Brain Injury. So that's a DOD underneath the Defense Health Agency organization. I always have to stipulate that because sometimes people wonder, well, are you a non-profit organization or a private company? No, we're a DOD operation, and we specialize in traumatic brain injuries. So whenever you hear the term traumatic brain injury, you should think, we want you to think DVBIC, Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center, basically made up into three components. We have a research component with really amazing researchers all around the country doing research in the traumatic brain injury area. We have a clinical component. Those are the clinical people that actually treat and help service members. And then the education component, and I work in the education component as the Regional Education Coordinator. I provide traumatic brain injury education, training, and resources for everyone from the medical personnel, doctors, nurses, corpsmen, medics in the military, and the VA, all the way down to service members, veterans, families, and the civilian community.
So important.
Yes.
It is so important. Tell us, what is the brain injury and concussion that most people don't realize? What you're doing is so critical, and amazing. So let us know real quick, what is that difference?
Absolutely. And I like to start by saying it's a hidden injury, and it's more prominent than people are aware of. So when you hear the term traumatic brain injury, what you want to think about is your brain sits inside your skull. And when your head hits something or something hits you in the head, your brain has a tendency to rattle around inside your skull. It can bounce up against the inside of your skull, ricochet and bounce backwards, and get bruised or a little damaged. That's a traumatic brain injury. Some of the things that help you take that a little deeper is 3 components. If you hit your head or you suffer a jolt or blow to the body, hard enough to cause your brain to rattle around in your skull or smash up against the inside, and you lose consciousness. If you lose consciousness, that's a traumatic brain injury. Now, I should add, traumatic brain injuries come in 4 levels: mild, moderate, severe, and penetrating. The mild version is also known as a concussion. So depending on how hard you actually hit your head will determine at the time of the injury whether it's mild, moderate, severe, or penetrating. So if you hit your head and you lose consciousness, you had a traumatic brain injury. Or alteration of consciousness. You hit your head or blow a jolt to the body and you're dazed, confused, disoriented. Like we say in the Marine Corps, you got your bell rung. That's a concussion. Those are symptoms. Or post-traumatic amnesia. You can't remember what happened right before, or you can't remember what happened right after that blow or jolt to the body or head. That essentially is how we describe or define a traumatic brain injury.
That's incredible. I lectured my boys after I saw you speak. It was awesome. What should somebody do if they think that this has happened to them?
Great question. In the military, what they have to do is a part of policy. So if you're in the military, you have a requirement. If you experience a potential, and you notice the word potential, concussive event, you're required to get a mandatory medical evaluation. In the civilian world, if it was me and I suffered a potential concussive event, I'm going to the doctor.
Right.
It's pretty simple. I don't want to play with my brain because everything about me emanates out of what my brain is doing. And if it's damaged, you may think just because you've had a mild brain injury that you're okay. But sometimes the symptoms can evolve over 2, 3, 4, 6 hours, 24 hours, before you realize this was a situation I should have went to the doctors. But I also should add this. In the case of the mild traumatic brain injury, we expect you to be okay. So even though it's a traumatic brain injury, in the case of the mild version, we expect you to be okay within minutes to hours, sometimes days. Some people will take weeks. The majority of people will recover within weeks from a mild traumatic brain injury.
Wow. And veterans need to go to their VA to get it checked out right away, correct?
Veterans should go to the doctor, yes. Either the VA or if they're seeing a private doctor, some medical person that's familiar with traumatic brain injuries. And if they're not, they should contact DVBIC in the local area to get a training on what they need to know about traumatic brain injuries.
That's fantastic. It's incredible information. I know that all our viewers are going to want to go check out more information, their website that they can go to.
Absolutely. It is the Defense and If you Googled DVBIC, D-V-B-I-C, Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center, our website will come up.
I encourage everybody to do that. Clint, I can't thank you enough for the great work that you're doing and being a voice out there for everybody on brain injury. I'm going to look up more information even for my own kids. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back with more Operation American Dream.
All right, now joining me in studio, 2 men who served as combat veterans. They are now small business owners and the founders of One More Wave. Kyle Buckett, Alex West, co-founders. Thanks for coming into studio here today.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so you guys served. Thank you first and foremost for your service. Appreciate you coming in. Let's talk about One More Wave. This is a charitable organization that you founded. Kyle, you're the COO, the Chief of Operations, so you're the structured guy. and you are the CEO, Alex, which is more the visionary. At least that's how it works in my business. We're the ones who frustrate the COOs, right?
That sounds familiar.
But tell us about where this all stemmed from, how you founded it. Kick us off.
Sure. I started off as a volunteer surf instructor for Balboa Hospital Surf Clinic, which does surfing for wounded or injured veterans. And I noticed a need for a lot of these veterans for specialized equipment, for amputees, for burn victims, spinal cord injuries. And in March of 2015, I started it with another fellow, James McFadden, and just for that reason, to get that specialized equipment.
So it's not just something where you're actually taking vets out surfing, which I know is part of it, but you're actually creating specialized equipment to help.
That's exactly right, Craig. So what we did was we did a big study just to make sure that we weren't the, somebody else wasn't doing the exact same thing in San Diego or in Southern California. And we realized there wasn't anybody actually doing that anywhere in the country that just focused on adaptive surfing equipment. So we went down that route and just started cranking out surfboards, tailored wetsuits, and stand-up paddleboards, anything that can get a veteran in a wave body surfing.
Now, I know you guys are combat veterans, but do you both surf as well?
We do.
So it is a passion of yours?
It is.
Now, how'd you get involved?
So James, who Alex was just talking about, was deployed with me a couple years ago. He got his leg removed. Long story short, he had to have his leg removed. It's a very high amputation. And I remember when I got the call that night, we were in the Middle East, and I got the call, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, what would this do for me? What would this do for my family, for my daughters? How would I react? What kind of depression would I be dealing with if I lost this outlet in surfing, if I lost ocean therapy? If I wasn't able to do it anymore? And I was like, wow, we got to do something. So that's when I came back and I joined with Alex to keep it going,
So, I mean, which is therapeutic in itself, just being able to go out there and be with other guys and surfing gals out there surfing. So tell us a little bit more about the equipment. Like, how does it work? How can we help? Is there anything that we can do to help you guys grow? Sure. Enlighten us.
So, there was a moment for us once we started getting a little bit of momentum where the easy button would have been to just go to a surf shop and just say to any of the vets, pick out whatever you want. But that would have been the easy way out, right? So we wanted to keep it as customized and as personalized and a world-class solution for each one of these vets. So what we do is we'll line up, we'll get the vet, and then we'll surf with them, and we have a bunch of our boards that are specialized. They have, depending on the injury, handles or some grooves we put inside the board. We might move the fins up and down on the board. Small characteristics for adaptive surfers. And we will have them try each one of these different boards and give us feedback. And we'll also study them, whether it's our organization or we'll bring out shapers that will study and surf with them to actually formulate that personalized custom solution.
Wow.
Yeah, and we also will do personalized graphics in the actual board, so they can make it anything they want. If they wanted a San Diego Padres logo because they're an old Padres fan, they could do it. If they wanted their old unit logo, we could do it. If they wanted just something nice and clean and classic looking, we can do it. But the most important thing is it's their call and it's their own form of art therapy to make it their personalized board.
That's awesome. And then you guys are going out there and actually surfing with them. Give me some stories of an example of a vet that you've been able to help out. I mean, you mentioned an amputee. I'm trying to envision, if you see me surf, like I can't imagine doing it anyway, much less without one of my limbs. Man, the guys that are doing it with you are so brave, and I'm sure that's a small feat for them compared to some of their other service that they've done. But you're creating the unique boards and wetsuits and all this. Like, give me an example of a success story of maybe someone who thought they'd never be able to surf again, but you were able to get them back on the board and back out there.
So I'll tell one of my favorites. Currently, we have a guy named Dan, Lieutenant Dan, ironically. He lost both of his legs in an IED bomb back in Iraq in 2009. He has been doing great in his physical therapy. He's been doing awesome. In fact, he's a para-athlete for the Olympics, for the Adaptive Olympics. And he was starting to surf and get involved in surfing. And we've known Dan for years, and we reached out to him. We were like, hey, man, let's get you a board. So he slowly started getting into it, and now he's hook, line, and sinker. I mean, if you pull up the video on our YouTube, you can see him literally dropping into a massive wave in Indonesia and just crushing it. So it's pretty cool to watch that transformation of getting him dialed in, getting him custom equipment, and then getting out there and seeing him crush it.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. What you guys are doing is amazing. First of all, again, thank you for your service. but to bring vets together, who we know there's challenges as a country when you all come back, and then certainly to actually tailor this and bring the camaraderie together and create these unique surfboards and equipment. It's pretty awesome. What can we do to help you?
Yeah. Well, we actually have our 6 ways to help us. We've got them on our YouTube channel. There's 6 different ways to help us.
Okay.
Donate. Obviously, we will always accept those donations, so
all right.
gladly and happily. Donate your time. We have volunteer lists for people that are living in Hawaii, San Diego, and then also Virginia to help volunteer with their time. Amazon Smiles, we're listed on there, and also
like word of mouth, just talking to your friends, family. Just knowing that we're out there is a big deal for us because we're such a small. You're pretty much looking at the organization right here that represents a bunch of volunteers. However, we're small, so just people knowing that we're out there is a huge deal for us.
Well, I hope people today who are tuned into the show can check out your website, onemorewave.net.
Correct.
I'm sure you can learn a lot there if you want to donate or just spread the awareness. Certainly, as you see this post on social media, please share it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your service. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us, Chris.
All right, more of Operation American Dream coming up next.
We have a winner! Johnny, you won! You won! Grandma?
There are certain times in life when you need a neutral third party to call the shots.
I wasn't right. I know, but I wasn't right. I wasn't. You hear me?
Keep it fair. Choose Oakwood Escrow.
All right, now joining us on Operation American Dream, not only did he serve in the military, but he's also helping those who have served to buy homes all over San Diego. I know you're up in the Temecula area.
Yes.
Joseph Onello with Keller Williams. First time having you on the show. Good to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me.
First and foremost, of course, thank you for your service. Tell us a little bit about it. You're a Marine.
Yes, Marine,
Okay.
8 years of active duty service, got out and got 2 years in the reserves, and currently bouncing in and out of the reserves.
Appreciate your service. What got you into real estate?
What got me into real estate was my own personal home buying experience, where I went through the process, and I was a first-time home buyer. I didn't know much about purchasing a home, but I was obviously scared about it, and my realtor at the time made it a rushed experience. And then at the very end, she left the key underneath the mat. Didn't meet me at the house. I walked into the house, the door was unlocked, walked in, and all the tenants' stuff was all their trash was all over the house. They basically took everything that they wanted and left everything that they didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, so it cost a couple $100s to get rid of it all.
So interestingly enough, you didn't actually enjoy the experience of buying a home.
Yes.
And so you thought, maybe this is something I could get into. And now you're doing really well with it. How's the market doing?
The market's great. It's a fast-moving market with very low inventory. So, in the Temecula area, you have about 2 months of inventory. And in San Diego, there's between 1 and 3 months of inventory, depending on the neighborhood.
Wow. So for our audience, that's a seller's market.
A seller's
so
market.
if no homes went on the market, it's going to take a couple months, and all those homes are going to get swooped up. So there's still a lot of buyer demand. You have low interest rates. Help me understand the VA buyer. Now, did you use your VA loan when you bought?
I did.
Good
yes,
man.
Yes, low interest rate.
It's something our government gets really right. FHA, VA especially, no money down. It's a government-insured loan. If you've served in the military, it's such a great opportunity for you. It's a great financial instrument. So for those who might want to exercise their VA eligibility, 100% financing. The challenge I continue to hear, though, with low inventory is, well, how do I get my offer accepted versus several other offers, some who might be cash? How do you help those who've served?
Well, the thing is the VA loan is the most leveraged loan that you can use. It's 100% financing. So all you really have to pay for is the closing costs. So if you're looking into purchasing a home, then one thing that you could do is just save up a little bit of money or have the lender cover your closing costs so you don't have to ask the seller for more money. So that way you're at least offering exactly what you're offering, is that's what they're going to get, and they're not going to have to kick back any more money.
Do you feel that sellers would be more inclined to accept that VA offer if you present, I know you do a lot of things that add value with your clients, you're kind of known for it, but Explain the things you can do to get a seller to be more inclined to accept that offer.
Simple things like writing a letter. Write a letter, put a picture of you and your family, military uniform, and sometimes I have my clients stand in front of their house and take the photo and then upload it with the offer. That way, it's very personal, and the picture comes from their home.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I think about my parents who still live in the house I was raised in. And so, I mean, I go back there every year in St. Louis, Missouri, and I think, you know, if my dad was selling this house that he put his blood, sweat, and tears into, is he going to sell it to a cash buyer or somebody who served in the military? So I think if you can convey that story the way that you do, it's going to go a long way. So if you've served, first thing I would do is connect with Joseph. But these are strategies that could really help you in getting your offer accepted. I know you do a lot of other things well. We don't just have to talk about buyers, sellers. What are some of the other things that you do to really add value to your client?
Well, I mean, I appreciate the opportunity that I was given. I mean, when I got out of the military, it was scary and hard because I didn't know, you know, what civilian companies would hire me, what routes to go, and all these organizations that say that they want to hire veterans, but it's hard to find, you know, a veteran, a job that's taken my resume, so to call me back. So I just appreciate, and I really put customer service first and make it a great experience for the client.
Give me some examples.
Yeah, so, you know, one thing that we do is as soon as your offer gets accepted, we send a box of branded moving boxes to your home. It has moving boxes, has tape, markers, everything that you need to move right inside the box.
So you got nothing when you bought your first house. You're going above and beyond to add these little details to actually, these are things you don't think of as a first-time home buyer, that you're going to need to get boxes and moving trucks and all these different things. Well, you got a great reputation. It's awesome having you on the show. The fact that you've served, if you have served in the military, who better to help you than someone who's served just like you? One last question.
Sure.
What do you think of the real estate market moving forward? Are you bullish, bearish? What do we think? Does the seller's market loosen up a bit? What do you think?
Well, I mean, the problem is, obviously, if you sell somewhere, you have to live somewhere. So, I mean, if you have that flexibility, then it's been 10 years from a recession. I would be a little bit bearish, but I mean, if you have the opportunity, real estate always historically has appreciated over time, and I mean, use your VA loan. It's 100% financing.
Yeah, there's no risk. You have no money down. Not to mention there's no mortgage insurance, low interest rates. Interest rates still remain historical lows. Joseph Onello, Keller Williams, thank you so much for your service. Appreciate you coming on Operation American Dream. All right, more of the show coming up next. So another great show, just an all-star lineup. You are really our executive show producer. She isn't just a host. You help find these guests, connect these dots, and do so much for our community. You did a good job today.
Thank you. It's really fun.
Well, you are the best at it. The show is getting stronger and stronger. I really hope our audience realizes you can follow us outside of the show as well. We're very active on social media. If you honor our military, we would love to hear from you. Just find us on social media, find us on our website. And of course, we'll be back again in a couple weeks on Operation American Dream. Great job today.
Thanks. I'll see you then.
All right, we're out of here. Find us on social media. Have a great one.